You're listening to No Plot, Only Lore, a podcast about games and the tables we play them at. Your DMs tonight and every night are Josh and Kris. You can find us on all podcast platforms or check us out at noplotonlylore.com. If you like what you hear today, please rate and review the show and share it with everyone you've ever met.
Welcome back to No Plot, Only Lore, brought to you today by Abject Stupidity. I have been watching a slightly ridiculous amount of anime in a very specific genre, which is slice of life teen romance, because there is something about watching dumb anime babies have big feelings at each other that really appeals to me.
I knew there was going to be trouble when you started like routinely watching anime. Like, you know, every once in a while something comes out and it's like, oh, this is like a big enough cultural impact or just like a really cool thing that like I'll tolerate it for a while, right? Like the first season of One Punch Man or you know,
Sure.
like an individual movie. And then you were like, no, I watch anime every day now for like an hour. And then you, like, at first I was like, oh, he's like just trying to work through, like, maybe he really wants to catch up on One Piece because it's really having a moment, or maybe he's like really just finally going to get through all that Naruto that he never could before. But no, you started telling me you watch emotional anime.
Oh, yeah. I've started watching anime while I am walking on the treadmill to distract myself from the fact that walking on a treadmill is the most dreadfully boring thing that I can imagine. And I would actually rather just be distracted while doing that than be bored doing anything. So, yeah, I started watching anime, and the stuff that I kind of gravitated towards was the stuff that had a bit of a slower pace to it so that I could keep up with it while I was walking. And that led to More Than a Married Couple, But Not Lovers, which is possibly the dumbest concept for a romance thing I have ever seen.
Even that sentence makes no sense.
Right. So the premise of this thing, and the reason that we're talking about premises today, is as part of the high school curriculum in this version of Japan, people in high school get randomly paired up with another student and then spend a month living with them, that person, as a married couple.
Okay, so part of that almost makes sense in like one of those, I don't know, like a Black Mirror episode where you can see that like idealistically, maybe high schoolers should, you know, have some experience living with other human beings who aren't their parents before they're thrown out into the real world. But this is specifically, it's not roommates, it's as a married couple.
It is as a married couple, and you are being graded.
What's the syllabus?
So I don't know. They've never actually described what the syllabus is, but like if you do married couple shit,
right,
and they are constantly watching, apparently, like they've got like little black cameras in like the corners of the rooms and stuff. If you do married people shit, your points go up. And you actually have like a point counter in your living room showing your points go up.
Okay, but like legally, what is married people shit?
That is never explained.
Oh my god!
So, it is also up to the kids to interpret what married people shit is. So a lot of it is just like random guess and testing, and they never really get into like that part of it because the couple in the main storyline are both interested in people that are not their partner for this project.
Right.
And so their goal is to be A students in this class because A students get to pick another partner from among the other A students.
Okay, so...
Which is, again, fucking stupid.
But, like, I'm trying to think of what they could really be going... Because, like, okay, you want to do, like, married people shit? Like, you go to Costco on a Saturday and you, like, file joint taxes or whatever. But, like, also a super married people thing, and, like, it's actually sort of a requirement for it, but is, like, cheating. Like, you can... right? Like, having a secret lover elsewhere and keeping that from your spouse is married people shit.
I guess that would technically be some married people shit. Like, not some happily married people shit.
No, but it's married people shit. So, like, do you get extra points in class for having an affair?
I don't believe you're penalized for it, but I don't think you get extra points.
You're not rewarded? Good policy.
You're not rewarded, but yeah, so they're not encouraging you to go out and find extramarital partners, but they're not like stopping it. Because like I would assume that at least some of these children have partners.
Yeah.
Like these are high schoolers.
Yeah.
So like they have romantic interests that are not the person that they are quote unquote married to.
Correct.
For the term of this class, which apparently goes for many months. But anyway, it got me thinking about some of the premises that we occasionally see for role-playing games and how yours don't have to be good because there are a lot of really good stories out there that just have dog shit premises.
Right. You can start from an absolutely ridiculous place, but as long as like the people in the situation are real people, then it'll resonate.
Well, yeah, and I think like one of the big things that I have kind of noticed in some of these absolutely terrible premises is that the more serious you take the premise, the more real the story seems, despite the fact that the premise makes absolutely no goddamn sense.
Right.
So, like, another anime, because I know you're a huge otaku and you fucking love anime.
That's fucking me. Yeah.
Bento is one that I watched when I was probably in my early 20s. And I was initially drawn to it because it was just a tits and fight anime. Like, that whole genre of, like, there's big titties bouncing and somebody is getting into a martial arts fight. But the whole thing, like the premise of the thing, is that at midnight in this town, the grocery stores mark their bento half off.
Yeah.
And high school kids who are poor and wanting to eat good get into all-out knuckle-dragging brawls to get that half-price bento.
Right. So I just need to, like, you really glossed over something here super quick.
Oh, yeah.
Tits and fight is not...
Tits and fight.
It's not a genre that I was aware existed.
It is probably one of the most pervasive genres of anime. It infects everything. Like, a lot of the anime that you may see just kind of like riding below the high quality stuff, right? Like if you hop on Crunchyroll and you look through like the action titles, about 60% of those are going to be tits and fight anime.
Can you?
Where it's just going to be like fan service,
yeah,
a whole bunch of people getting naked and like there's teasing and somebody's going to accidentally touch a boob and everybody's faces are going to turn red and then like nosebleeds are going to happen and like that part of it, and then the rest of the show is people doing martial arts fight.
Can you give me an example?
Ranma 1/2 is probably the like quintessential tits and fight anime.
All right,
it's that one is also a super dumb premise, but I didn't write it down on our notes.
No, it was too dumb even for us.
It dumb and like mildly problematic.
Oh.
It's about a martial artist who went to China and fell in a mystic spring, and now every time he gets wet, he turns into a woman.
What?
Every time he gets wet, he turns into a woman.
Oh, is this like Naruto's like sexy jutsu or whatever the fuck?
Like kind of like that, and then like his dad, I guess, turns into a panda.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, so it's just like weird transformation stuff, and then there's also like a romance plot because you need to get the titties in there.
Of course.
Yeah, so Ranma 1/2, absolutely the quintessential tits and fight anime. But there's a lot of it. There's so much of it. Not even my favorite genre. I'm all about those like sweet romances. I want to see them like spend 14 episodes maybe getting to a place where they might hold hands. I'm so low.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but we got. Oh God, I can't laugh this hard. I'm still in recovery.
Yeah, no, you sound like you're dying.
Oh my god. Anyways, fuck. Oh god.
Anyways, what's your favorite shitty concept for any piece of media that you've seen?
Like, just okay. I guess my favorite like dumb concept. I super love a movie where the whole premise is just like legalism, and the whole problem could be instantly solved by people not being so fucking pedantic.
Right.
So
it's like Rules Lawyers, the movie.
Yeah, exactly. So I suggested for this Airbud. Airbud,
a classic.
Now, you might not think Airbud is a genre, but
it is.
Well, I'm saying people hear Airbud, they're like, well, there's a lot of sequels, but there's also alternative spin-offs like Most Valuable Primate, who took the idea of what if a dog played basketball and extended it to what if a chimp played hockey. And I think that's...
Which is, as a Canadian,
yeah,
like, that really resonates.
Exactly.
Like, most of the people from my hometown who played a lot of hockey, I would not be able to tell them from a lineup of chimps.
Yeah, no, they are 100% primates. So, yeah, I think that's what like. I'm not particularly drawn to like dumb stuff like you. Please don't take that the wrong way. But
no, I appreciate really silly concepts in a lot of things in a way that I don't think everybody does, and I think that's okay.
I don't know if I'd call it okay, but it's definitely your thing.
Well, I mean, like, okay, it kind of depends on how serious you want to get about it, because like if you go back and look at like the origins of Star Wars before people started taking Star Wars so goddamn serious, it is a deeply goofy idea.
I mean, I didn't want to be called out so quickly, but yeah. A gentleman the other day on Instagram was posting his like 5 favorite books that he owns, and one of them was the original script for Star Wars. Like,
oof.
Yeah, with its like first draft name, The Adventures of Luke Starkiller, and blah 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 blah. And Jesus, that is.
Have you read it?
I want to maintain my relationship with Star Wars.
Okay. I have read the first few pages. There are copies of it that are available on the internet. Yeah. And it's real heckin' bad.
Listen, I understand that George Lucas is, at best, a flawed writer. I get that. It doesn't make me love Star Wars less. I just know that Star Wars, like any good piece of art, is not at its best on the first draft.
Yeah. Well, and it pulls from a very strong tradition from like the time of Lucas's childhood, like those pulp science fiction things that we were seeing. You know, the Buck Rogers and like all of the big funny looking like dildo spaceships and like that entire genre is very much what Star Wars pulls from, and so like that in itself, that genre is already fairly goofy,
right?
And in a lot of ways, I think what Star Wars did really effectively is they took that goofy premise and they played it so straight.
Right. Here's what I will say too, is that like when it comes to like the movies, like he was smart enough to know that he should pull from better sources than himself. So when you talk about like how Star Wars references like Rashomon and things like that, right? Like it's definitely a much it punches above its weight when it comes to like actual quality. So
for sure.
I mean I think needs to be recognized.
Also true for Airbud though. Like
Yeah. Yeah, more true than I could possibly express. Like, we laugh about Airbud, but like at the time, pretty revolutionary.
Okay, I don't think that it is possible to overstate the impact that Airbud had on our generation when we were kids.
Oh, 100%.
Right? Like, it was a phenomenon on par with the Ninja Turtles for a minute.
There's like 6 of them, aren't there?
Just of the Airbud, and then I think they also branched, like, that franchise specifically, into a few different sports as well. Because, like, Airbud specifically was basketball, and then they did, like, a couple of spin-offs with that dog.
I know at one point he was playing, like, beach volleyball or something, so...
And I mean, like, I'm sure he has a killer fucking spike.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not worried about Bud's performance in any field of athleticism. Other than the fact that, like, the dog's been dead for 15 years. But
how dare you?
I'm actually really surprised that they just didn't get another dog.
I mean, every golden retriever looks identical. They could have so quickly replaced that thing.
Yeah. Just get another very well-trained golden retriever. Although, like, kudos to the trainers and the owners for, like, training that dog to be as charismatic as it was.
Oh, sure.
All right, so Face Off.
Yeah.
One of my favorite stupid movies is just about a villain who decides to body swap with a cop. And then go do crimes while wearing the cop's face. It is absolutely the worst premise for a movie that I have ever, like, witnessed. And they pull it off so well. Okay, maybe not well. It is incredibly hammy.
They pulled it off. That's the best you could say.
Yes, they pulled it off. There were many explosions. Nicolas Cage is brilliantly creepy and weird and charismatic in a way that I don't entirely understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, stupid idea for a movie. Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a bunch of aliens that look like clowns that are here to kill you.
Wait, what was... Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. That's the other one.
Yeah,
that same area there.
Yeah, like the B movie horror genre in its entirety, I think, lives in this space.
Yeah.
With, I think, the main detractor being that I don't think a lot of the horror genre plays to it as straight as it could.
Right?
Like, it's very tongue in cheek, right? Like, so one of the reasons that I have Sharknado as low on our list as I do. Like, I understand that Sharknado is a beloved film franchise for a lot of people, and I do not want to detract from that at all. I'm the guy who watches a bunch of, like, shitty romance anime,
right.
But, like, yeah, no, Sharknado has, like, a very voracious following. Like, they are hungry for more Sharknado.
That's weird.
Yeah, like, I don't fucking get it. But, like, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum.
I'll do that for us.
The whole premise is there's a tornado and it's full of sharks.
What was there was a spin-off in a similar... Piranha.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is that... Is
Piranha Cyclone or something?
Well, no, there was a movie, there was Piranha 3D, but I think it's just called Piranha. I was going to say, though, like, are these movies like the Western tits and fight movies?
That's very possible. I know that there is definitely, like, I wouldn't call it a genre necessarily, but I guess, like, tits and fight isn't really a genre all on its own either. Yeah, no, there's definitely, like, a through line of taking an absolutely ridiculous premise and making a movie about it. Like What's that one about, like, Jesus Christ and velociraptors?
Oh, Velocipaster.
Velocipaster, yeah. And like some of that is just like B-movie schlock, and that's fine. But some of it is also played very straight. And I think like Sharknado kind of toes the line between playing it straight and tongue-in-cheek. I was not able to watch more than 10 minutes of that movie.
Right. So there's been a series of those Velocipaster type shit movies on Amazon, and I have sort of, I don't want to say like decried them, but I've not been like a fan of what they're doing. And I think it's because they were trying to take it like seriously, but like not seriously, so we could be like cool kids about it. And
yeah,
I feel like they lacked the sort of authentically stupid that Sharknado did. Like,
yeah,
these movies on Prime are like very aware of what they're doing, and Sharknado was not. They were just like, what if?
No, Sharknado was absolutely just like a couple of guys that got high and were like, what if there was a tornado full of sharks, bro?
Yep.
And then they made a fucking movie about it, and a lot of people liked it. No, I think like a lot of the movies that I'm seeing from Amazon are, one, copying an aesthetic.
Yeah.
Right, like there's a lot of the like grainy VHS, like 1980s styling that's happening in those films, and I know that a lot of that is on purpose, but I don't know that any of it is played because there's like a genuine appreciation for that look,
right?
Or if it's just because they think that's what's going to sell.
Yeah,
right.
You can almost smell the irony on them, you know.
Well, and again, like going back to Star Wars, it took the goofy and it really played it with heart.
Yeah.
Right, and that is the same thing that I found with More Than a Married Couple, But Not Lovers.
Okay.
It is a goofy fucking premise, but I liked it because the characters were playing it straight. They took the subject matter seriously. It was important to them that they do well in this absolutely ridiculous class that would not pass any kind of government like oversight.
No, not at all.
It's like, I'm sorry, you want to take a, like, first of all, it was entirely husbands and wives because Japan is weird like that. And so like gay couples, you want gay couples to get split up and like have to pretend to be a husband and wife with somebody that they're not. And then also the hetero couples, we're just going to take horny teenagers and put them in the same housing unit for a month and hope nobody comes out pregnant.
That seems fine.
maybe that's the goal. Maybe pregnant teenagers is what we're aiming at. But yeah, the fact that they play it with heart and they like are exploring relationships within the goofy premise is the thing that makes it work for me. And I think like bringing it back to a gaming place.
Yeah.
If you have your premise be something like dragons have taken over the world.
Right.
Just every country is now ruled by a horrifying dragon king or queen. They are divvying up new borders that none of the humans respect. You can make that really goofy, and it is goofy on face value, but you can also play it very, very straight and have a really good time with it, where you have like each of these like dragon royals is their own personality, and we have to like try and figure out how to handle this new normal, and like what does it look like to be an adventurer when there are like lizard tyrants that are controlling everything around you, right? Like that there are opportunities for gameplay there that I think you can absolutely embrace, or just treat them like they are really silly if you want to.
So I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head with like the premise itself can be as stupid as you want as long as the experiences resonate, right? Like the point of this dragon tyrant setting is not like the dragons themselves. Like, you know, you start picking away at it. It's like, well, why the fuck would dragons care about borders? They can fly, like blah blah blah, things like that. But
Mhm.
when you ground part of that and like, hey, what's the lived experience of the people in this like horrific hell situation? Then you know the goofiness sort of like, I don't want to say it completely sloughs off, but like it gets muted by
Right.
you know real experience.
It's only goofy until you've lived it,
Yeah.
right? Like the recent history, I think, would be a pretty good example of like that there is a bunch of ridiculous things that are happening
Mhm.
all over the world that everybody thought would have been impossible once upon a time, and we are living through them, or we have lived through them recently, and they were not funny.
Yeah.
And they're still not funny. So bringing some of that pathos
Mhm.
to your games where you're dealing with, like, I don't know, an ice dragon has taken over Neverwinter.
Yeah.
Okay. What do?
Yeah.
How are you going to roll with that? Or, you know, like an army of the undead has suddenly sprung up in the middle of a like heavily populated city. Cool. Where'd they come from? Like, you don't just have that many dead bodies lying around all the time. So, like, they have to have an origin. They have to have somebody who's leading them. They have to have some sort of organization somewhere
Yeah.
that's happening, right? And so, like, you once you start like digging into those details and embracing that weirdness as the thing, then it gets really easy to get invested in those instead of just being like, whatever, Lich Army.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's dumb. I'm trying to think of like what would be the stupidest D&D campaign idea that we could do. Because like I've got a few that are like borderline goofy,
Mm-hmm.
but they still played really well. Like there's a halfling mafia in the city of Sharn in Eberron.
Right.
And the player characters were just a bunch of like hokey farm kids who came to Sharn to try and like make enough money to pay for their sick mom's medicine.
Right.
And they got like mixed up with the mob. So it was just like gangster shit D&D.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like it was played very straight. Like every time the halfling character that was their handler had a very specific knock.
Yeah.
That he would do when he was like coming around to like give them a new mission.
Yeah.
And every time that knock happened, everybody's ears perked up and like the whole table got like really invested in whatever that was about to happen with that character. D&D Australia was dumb.
That D&D in the body of a god was also dumb.
Yeah, the world is carved into the bones of a dead god. There was a lot of dumb stuff in that one that, again, we played pretty straight.
Completely straight, I think. I can't think of a time where we were like goofballs about it, you know?
Maybe the cliffs in the rib cage where the dragons were roosting was a little bit of like a jokey session.
Yeah, kind
but
of.
Like that, I think part of that is that it was a little tonally different from everything that we had. Like previous to that, we had a bunch of dwarves who were living in huts that walked on chicken legs. Like everybody had a Baba Yaga hut.
That's true.
So,
we did have that. I do remember that.
So like compared to that, when you come across like a bunch of dragons roosting in cliffs, then it's pretty easy to just be like, okay, we're not going to take this seriously because it's not goofy enough for this setting.
Yeah. I forgot about those dwarves, honestly.
I really like those dwarves. They may be my second favorite thing from that set.
Don't get me wrong, I think they're great. I just kind of forgot they existed because, you know, I don't pay attention sometimes.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how to like make the library a bigger thing.
Oh yeah.
Because like that I think was like the cornerstone of that campaign in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And probably the best idea in it. But even then, like, okay, so the idea of the library is that it is a corporeal connection to the plane of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has every book that has ever been imagined in it. And they are teams of extreme librarians whose job it is to go into the library and either retrieve books for people who have requested them, or to try and put down super powerful books that are causing a ruckus in the library. That is so fucking dumb, and I love it.
The librarians themselves, I think, were some of the coolest NPCs we ever had to deal with, because they were like the combination of like actual librarian and like Indiana Jones and like Judge Dredd.
Yeah, just like a bunch of like hyper competent, well decked out, incredibly like prepared, like grown up boy and girl scouts who are really into reading.
Yeah, of all the things.
Yeah, they were so fucking cool. Yeah, no, I loved that whole premise, even though it was probably the stupidest thing. No, the chicken huts.
Come on, dude, chicken huts.
It's the fucking chicken huts.
You can't pretend that the chicken huts like made any sense whatsoever.
They didn't, but everybody loved them.
Oh, I'm not saying they didn't like deserve some love, but like, what the fuck was that about?
And like, the mode of transportation was required because the dwarves lived on the plains.
Yeah.
And I think I would just kind of like got enamored with the idea of like, fuck mountain dwarves, we're doing plains dwarves.
That actually does sound 100% like you, like just getting into the nitty gritty on something that doesn't matter.
Not even a little bit. And then, yeah, just like pulling something out of that resonates with people. Like I remember you guys got a chicken hut.
Yeah.
Like that was your base of operations. And
we were very excited to have it.
Was beloved.
Yeah.
That best NPC in that entire campaign was the chicken hut.
Stupid chicken hut.
Hey, thanks for making it all the way through this episode of No Plot Only Lore. If you're looking for more, you can always find us at noplotonlylore.com and on all the very best podcast platforms. If you like what you heard today, please share, rate, and review the show to feed my never-ending need for attention and validation.